Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 battle. This is going to be me and Surreal again, and we are actually facing off against the same duo from the last match, only this time we have flipped the factions. Me and Surreal playing as the Dwarves, and they are playing as the Greenskins. My army here, I have filled out all of these slots, knowing that we were probably going to be fighting against a lot of goblins, so I have a lot of miners up here on our left flank, backed up by the Renown unit, the Ekron miners, and this one also has blasting charges, but the other one's just going to be basic miners. Behind them, we have a group of Longbeards for their encouraging aura. Then we have some Dwarf warriors over here, 2 of them right there, and then I have 2 more over here on the right side. Our artillery is going to be a combined of 2 goblobbers, and then this 1 cannon back here. I also have a group of rangers, then rangers with great weapons. Let's see, led by the Runelord. We also have a Runesmith, so that deadly combination, what I think is a deadly combination. And then to top it off, we have the Peak Gate Guard Hammerers, and then the Grumbling Guard, which are the ones that give vigor to nearby units. So that's going to be my army. Oh, also, and this group of Slayers. For Surreal's army, we have a front line of 2 Ironbreakers on each side. One of them is going to be the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. 3 Dwarf Warriors, one of which is the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. Another Peak Gate Guard, and then 2 Longbeards right there and right there. Then 4 Quarrelers with great weapons. King Lund Iron Hammer, and then a Runelord over here. And then also Halkin Half Stonebeard. So he brought both of the ethereal thanes, and I think that is it. For our enemies, we'll deal with their vanguard forces first. So over here, what do we have here? 3 squig herds? Yeah, 3 squig herds and 2 nasty skulkers on this side. Then over here we have 2 night goblin squig hoppers over there. Here we have, let me actually pause it right here. Also I have a gyrocopter, very basic one. I brought this because I figured there would be a lot of night goblins, vanguard deployed somewhere, so I wanted to use this as a scout. And I'm actually going to find these 2 night goblins here in just a moment. So we have 2 night goblin archers right here. We have 2 Arachnarok queens, 1 for each army. There's going to be a combined of 6 black orcs and then 1 crimson killer over here. We have 3 nasty skulkers back here, a front line of orc boys. Night Goblin War Boss, a Night Goblin Shaman, I think is mixed in here. Yeah, right there. A Goblin Big Boss there. We also have 2 Hammers of Goric, 1 right here, and then 1 over here. A Doom Diver Catapult. And I think that... oh yeah, and then we also have these 2 Orc Boys right here as well. And then there's those Crimson Killers I mentioned. This army is being led by Wurzag, who is a very powerful shaman. And that is going to be it. So immediately I sent out our gyrocopters to look for night goblins, and as I said, I'm about to find these ones right here. So I'm going to actually use the bombs that come with the gyro bomber. They have 2 sets of them, and what this is going to do is kind of shatter the morale of these night goblin archers. They're going to take a lot of morale damage, as you can see right there. We're going to give a bomb to each one of them, and then I'm going to shoot them to try and break them. And since they're so close to the map edge, I'm actually going to route these night goblin archers off the field immediately. And then we're just going to start shooting at these night goblin archers, and we're going to be exchanging fire for quite a while as their armies are going to be approaching. We are exchanging some artillery fire. My cannons are going to be aiming at the black orcs for a couple moments, and then I'm going to switch to the Arachnarok Queen over there. Let's see, Surreal is aiming at black orcs over here, and then my goblobber is aiming also, I think, at black orcs over here. There are 6 groups of black orcs, and then the Crimson Killer. It's a lot of armor piercing. Meanwhile, over here, this ambush is going to be sprung here pretty quickly, but it's going to be going on Surreal's backline of his Quarrelers, but we don't even notice them, or, well, we saw these, but they are not currently attacking us. Reposition my army a little bit to receive this opponent if they come around this way. I really like this map. I think this is a pretty balanced map, and yet it has some cool features with these 2, like, outcroppings right here, this little narrow area where you can fight, then multiple forests around. I really like this. Kelp and Stardust? Kelp and something dust. Something like that. I don't know. It's a cool map. But anyway, I'm trying to route these other Night Goblin Archers, but they are not busting their morale enough, so they're just going to sit there and tank my damage for a while. There goes some Night Goblins strapped to some stones, which is great. I love it. And this is when this trap is going to be sprung. So this is a really nicely timed trap. All of these squig herds and the nasty skulkers are coming out of this forest at the same time where their front line is about to meet Surreal's. So, ooh, there comes a stone right there. Nice stone. But anyway, so we got black orcs coming in. The Ironbreakers are throwing their sap charges against these orc boys. But then we also still have these 2 dwarf lords ready to receive the charge. And let's go. I don't know if I mentioned this, but he's also being led by a Runelord. So we have 2 Runelords in this fight. I think you're going to see the Runelord a lot, and for good reasons. I think they're really good. So yeah, the front line is going to get hit. At the same time, these Squakers came in the back and are starting to chew through the corridors. So since I am not currently in battle, I'm actually going to send my Rangers, my Peak Gate Guard, and my Old Grumblers over here to assist Surreal's forces for as long as I can. Because I have a lot of forces over here that can hold. We have multiple layers of miners, multiple layers, well, a layer of Dwarf Warriors behind them. We have Longbeards, we have the Runelord, and the Runesmith that can keep their defenses up for a long time. So I know, or at least I think, I can allow myself to devote a lot of my damage potential to help Surreal here. So that's why we're getting our Dwarf Warriors over here. We're getting our, again, our Peak Gate Guard and the Grumbling Guard. Now, the Grumbling Guard also is going to be buffing up the fatigue of Surreal. So all these units over here are going to be maintaining a fresh condition, while the enemy is going to be going down to active and then winded and tired. So I really think the Grumbling Guard are really good. Not only are they anti-armor Longbeards, but the vigor that they have is really great. Here comes Night Goblin Warboss going into our Miners with Blasting Charges, which they all throw at him and miss, which is pretty cool. So we're going to be applying some of the buffs here from the Runelord, running our forces in here, reforming our lines, getting ready to accept this Orc charge of all these Orc boys. My cannon, I think, is firing at the Black Orcs right now because the Arachnarok Spider is hiding in the forest, and I don't want my cannon shots to be wasted against the trees. Right here, I'm going to try and put some pressure on this Doomdiver Catapult. And my Goblobber is just going to be hitting the center of this massive Orc boy formation, who is now being held off by our Miners, our Runelord, Runesmith, our Dwarf Warriors being put in there. We have some Longbeards over there as well. Here come our renowned Eckerd Miners, who's going to be doing so much damage versus the nasty Skulkers. They have very low armor, and the blasting charges are really good at murdering low armor units. And these guys have a lot of charges, which is why I positioned them behind a group of Miners. So look at all that damage we've done to these nasty Skulkers already. But here come these Squakers as well. We are ready to receive them with more Miners over there. Over on Surreal's side, we have already helped to destroy these 3 Squakers that came in to destroy the Quarrelers. The Peak Gate Guard is going into combat against some of these Black Orcs. There's just so much over here. So also, King Lun Ironhammer is holding off an entire group of Crimson Killers basically by himself and has murdered a lot of them. They also had a lot of fire taken from, I believe, Quarreler fire. The other Half and Stonebeard tanked a lot of Orc boys, and now you can see that they have routed them. Again, they have fear and terror, so Orc boys are not known for their high morale, which is why they are leaving. And then the Black Orcs were just getting torn to pieces by Surreal's Peak Gate Guard, and then my Peak Gate Guard is coming in as well. And you can see that they are now routing, and our Peak Gate Guards are fighting against this Arachnarok Queen, who is now kind of all alone, only with the Wurzag, who is trying to fight off some Peak Gate Guard, which is not exactly a battle I don't think he can win. But yeah, so with the terror and the fear, these Orcs are running out of the forest. They will come back, but it's really powerful to rout some of their forces and deal with the remaining that stay afterwards. Meanwhile, since I helped out Surreal, I am leaving the Peak Gate Guard over there, but I'm bringing in my Old Grumblers, a couple of my Dwarf Warriors, and my Quarrelers, or I'm sorry, my Rangers back over here, because I need to deal with this Arachnarok Spider, and my Rangers with great weapons can deal a lot of damage to her. Meanwhile, she is going to spawn. There we go. She casts the Spiderling ability, so they're going to start tearing into my cannon crew, who I'm going to try and shut down these Spiderlings with our Rangers that just came back from assisting Surreal. But also, a group of Squake Herders, I believe, is also going to make it back in here, somehow. At some point, they do. But meanwhile, our Dwarf Warriors, Longbeards, and what remains of our Miners is holding these Orcs' forces back and kind of corralling them into a nice tight formation. So our Goblobber is going to be getting a lot of work done here with the leadership debuff that it has, as well as just doing a lot of damage to a bunch of Orcs. So since my Old Grumbling Guard is now here, my Dwarf Warriors are going to be refreshed with their vigor. These are still wounded. I guess they haven't got the hit yet, but eventually these Grumblers will freshen all of our troops back up to a fresh status. These Black Orcs are going to be engaging against our Grumbling Guard, but they are also armor-piercing, so they can do okay against Black Orcs. They've already been weakened and are tired, whereas the Old Grumblers are going to be fresh, so they are at max combat stats. Rangers over here have dealt with the Spiderlings. The Squake Herd came in and finished off my cannon crew, but we are going to finish them off. And then I'm going to have my Rangers with great weapons just assigned to attacking this Arachnarok to try and bring her down, as our forces continue to just hold this massive amount of Orcs back. Supported by the Runelord and the Runesmith, our forces are taking almost, well, not almost no damage, but a lot less damage than they would otherwise. So this combination of a lot of small, low-tier units with the Dwarf Lord, Runelord and Runesmith is holding out pretty well. Meanwhile, over here, the Arachnarok has been dealt with. They are now routed over there, and they are now being brought around to combat me. Besides that, some other forces that came back from running, like the Crimson Killers, the Orc Boys, and you can see this Black Orc group is also come back from running, and they're also going to be joining the fight over here. But for the most part, the Surreal's fight is now over, so now we are bringing their forces over to help me, along with my own Peak Gate Guard. Yeah, it's to just plug up these holes that are now being formed. My Dwarf Warriors and Miners have held out a long time, but only they can hold out for so long. But luckily, Surreal's forces are coming in, so that's going to be good. My Grumblers I'm trying to keep out of the fight as long as possible to make sure that their buff is going to stay active on everybody. So there you go. You can see these Miners are now fresh, even though they've been fighting for, I don't even know, 5 minutes or so. Same thing with the Dwarf Warriors. You can see I'm moving them up and down the field to try and make sure that everybody is getting hit by their AoE, which procs once every 25 seconds, I believe. So if you take a look at some other Dwarf units, I think everything should basically be fresh at this point. Yeah, Runesmith is fresh. These Dwarf Warriors are fresh, but they're like low numbers at this point, so they're going to break. But again, Surreal's forces are nearby. My Rangers with great weapons have expended almost all the ammunition on this Arachnarok Spider and have almost murdered her. This one's going to get finished off by Surreal's forces over there. And it was at this point that the enemy is going to experience basically just a mass rout here in just a moment. The one Night Goblin Archer that we were changing fire with our gyrocopter finally made it to the fight, but just in time to kind of get routed here. They did do a lot of damage to my gyrocopter, though. You can see King Lun Ironhammer still okay. Well, almost dead, but still alive. And yeah, there is the chain rout that happens. They just lost too many forces. The Night Goblin War Boss made it into the end. There's the other Thane who did not die. And I believe our Runelords and Runesmith were all pretty much okay, because I kept mine out of the battle, and I think Surreal mostly kept his out of the battle as well. And then again, I can't stress enough, I think the Grumblers are really good. Keeping an entire army fresh is so good. Like, I went over that in my overview for the Dwarf units for this DLC, so you can find that on my channel if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, giving a 30% Vigor buff every 25 seconds to everything around you is, I think, really good. And I'm probably going to be bringing them in almost every Dwarf build that I have, because I think it's really good. But anyway, good game to our opponents there and to Surreal. Let's take a look at the kill count. So for me, yes, yeah, I kept my guys out of battle, but that's not what they're there for. They can. Like, both of them are more than capable of, especially attacking like Orc Boys, but I just want to make sure they didn't get caught in the middle of them and just like kind of isolated and murdered. So they were just buffing throughout the entire battle. Also, the Runelord, I didn't really talk about this much, but the Runelord has a more powerful version of the Rune of, what's it called? Wrath and Ruin. His is more powerful, so you can stack those on a unit and murder them kind of pretty quickly, especially over the course of the battle. So keep that in mind too. The Runelord does have an offensive spell you can cast on the enemy units. Miners did their job really well. They held on until nearly the bitter end. Nearly the bitter end, which is amazing. The Dwarf holding power, I think, is really great. Miners with blasting charges did pretty well before they fell. The Dwarf Warriors, again, held the line almost to the bitter end. There were still Dwarf Warriors fighting there at the very end. They fought that entire battle, which is insane when they're backed up by these two supporting units. The Ekron Miners got 47 kills before they fell. I think they did a lot of damage with those charges against the Nasty Skulker units, which is a unit that you really want to try and murder with this Ekron Miners, because, again, the blasting damage is really good against those low armor Night Goblins and Goblin units. Longbearers didn't really get to do that much, but they were fighting against, God, just like 3 Black Orc units, so many Orc Boys, so they got kind of torn to pieces. The Slayers did a lot of damage, I believe, to the, who was it that attacked Surreal? It was Indie Pride. So I think they did a lot of damage to these Squig Herders, because that's what I sent them over there to do, and they did that pretty well, but they were mostly out of the battle for most of that. Grumbling Guard did pretty well just because they applied their AoE. They dealt damage to some Black Orcs and a Arachnarok Spider. Peak Gate Guard was over there helping Surreal take out the spider that he was dealing with. The Rangers did really well. This managed to get 39 kills and then do a lot of damage to the Arachnarok. This Ranger got 40 kills on Spiderlings and like Squigs and everything. 98 kills on this Gyrocopter. That's a lot of Night Goblins murdered. So I guess that made up its cost. 34 kills on the cannon. 245 on the Goblobber. Because, as you saw there, we kind of had the orcs corralled into one central location, so this Goblobber just had a field day. This thing cost 800 and killed 245 people, so that's pretty good. For Surreal here, Runelord did what Runelords do. The 2 Thanes did pretty good. They held off units, killed some, and did not die. Dwarf Warriors, Longbeards did really well. These warriors kind of got crushed by some Black Orcs. Norgrimling's Ironbreakers got a really high amount of kills and barely were touched. Peak Gate Guard did pretty good. I'm not sure what they were actually fighting, to be honest. A couple of these corridors got shut down by the squid curs, but you know, they did what they could. And then 64 kills for his Gob Lobber. Then for Indie Pride here, we have 37 kills on Wurzak. That's pretty good. Orc Boys kind of got crushed. Nasty Skulkers did pretty okay. One group of Black Orcs did pretty good. The Crimson Killers were tanking King Lun Ironhammer, so they didn't get as many kills because these ethereal units can just absorb damage for days unless it's magical damage. Actually, I think that's what happened. Yeah. I think King Lun was actually targeted by Wurzag's Effigy of the Git, which is one of his unique. And I think I remember Surreal saying, like, holy shit, this Effigy spell is wrecking my king. So there you go. I guess bring Wurzag and blast these ethereal units if you fight against dwarves. Oops, sorry, my phone's going off. Anyway, so Squid units did pretty good before they died. They actually kind of got their money's worth for shutting down so many corridors for so long, so that was a really good move. Let's see, Hammer Gork did really well. Doom Divers did pretty okay, and then the Arachnoid Queen still managed to get 80 kills. And then for Ares here, Nikon War Boss, 32 kills is pretty good. Orc Borderline did really well. The Skulkers, even though they got kind of murdered by the mining charges, they still eked out a lot of kills against my miners and Dwarf Warriors. Couple of Black Orc groups did pretty good. This one I'm not sure what happened, but they got shut down. These Night Goblins got shut down by my Gyrocopter, and then the Squid Curs did really well. Ragnarok did really well. And the Hammer of Gork didn't actually do as well as I thought it would, but we got it shut down. I don't think I was targeting the Hammer of Gork, or was I? No, actually, no, yeah, I was, I guess. That's right. After I dealt with the Night Goblins, I sent my Gyrocopter against the Hammer of Gork, and then I sent it against the Doom Diver. That's right. I forgot about that. I don't even think I showed it. But anyway, good game to Ares and Indie Pride again, and let's go watch this in a cinematic view. He is just ignoring almost all of this. Oh yeah, that was the foot of Gork. Dang, just missed it. right in the face. Oh, man. That was beautiful. And then they murder my cannon crew. But, hey, they still got that one shot off. Whoa.
Cut their heads, spitting tongues out!
I've been noticing this a lot lately. Let me know if any of you have had the same problem. But when I'm giving orders for movement, when I'm like holding the right mouse button and giving them like just a move order that's a drag, you know, a lot of times since this update, they like ignore that initial formation order and they just form a very deep column. Have any of you had that problem? Like that happens all the time now to me. I want them to form like a basic dense unit, like, you know, 5 rows deep, but instead they, oh, there you go, like this again. They keep forming this column formation. It happens all the time now with this update. I'm just curious if is it me, it's like my mouse? It's really weird. Anyway. I just been noticing that a lot lately. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the battle. I will see you all next time. Take care.